Love is life. There's something magical about love. It's not just a feeling, but a force that shapes our entire existence. It lifts us up, breaks us down, and puts us back together again. For some, it's fleeting. For others, it's eternal. But no matter what form it takes, love is at the heart of every story, every connection, and every heartbeat. Amelia and Ethan's love story began in the most ordinary of places, a bookstore. She was there to find a book on gardening, a hobby she had just picked up. He was hunting for the latest bestseller. Neither of them expected anything more than the quiet joy of browsing the shelves, but fate had other plans. Amelia was standing in front of the gardening section when she noticed a man beside her, reaching for the same book. They both laughed awkwardly, both wanting the book but neither willing to give up the pursuit. In a playful standoff, Amelia said, "I was here first." Ethan smiled, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "Are you sure? I'm pretty sure I was standing here before you." She raised an eyebrow, unimpressed with his attempt at humor. "I saw the book first, so technically, I was here first." "Well then, it looks like we're at an impasse." He laughed, the sound of it light and warm. For a moment, they just stared at each other, not quite knowing what to do. There was something about this stranger that made Amelia feel oddly comfortable, as though they had known each other much longer than they actually had. Finally, Ethan broke the silence. "I'll let you have it, but only if you promise me something." She looked at him curiously, still holding onto the book. "What's that?" "Promise me that we'll meet again. I don't know why, but I have a feeling we're supposed to." Amelia blinked, surprised by his request. She wasn't one for fate or destiny, but there was something in his voice that made her hesitate before answering. "All right, I promise." And so she took the book, but not without exchanging phone numbers. They parted ways, neither knowing where this odd encounter would lead. As the days turned into weeks, Amelia thought about their brief meeting more often than she expected. Ethan's words had stayed with her, lingering like a promise that hadn't yet been fulfilled. Was it fate? Was it just a coincidence? She wasn't sure, but she couldn't help the curiosity that pulled at her every time she picked up her phone. Then, one night, Ethan texted her, "I know you probably think I'm crazy, but I was wondering if you'd like to grab a coffee sometime." Amelia smiled to herself as she typed out a reply. "Coffee sounds good. When?" The first date was awkward, as first dates often are. They talked about everything and nothing at all, feeling each other out like two strangers on the edge of something they didn't quite understand. But despite the awkwardness, there was something undeniable between them, a pull, a connection that couldn't be ignored. And so, they met again, and again, and again. Weeks turned into months, and what started as casual coffee dates grew into something deeper. Love blossomed quietly, almost imperceptibly, like a flower opening to the sunlight after a long winter. Amelia and Ethan found themselves spending more and more time together. They laughed, shared their dreams, their fears, and their pasts. They learned what made each other tick and what made them fall asleep at night with peace in their hearts. One crisp autumn evening, as they walked through the park, their hands brushed together. Amelia stopped walking and looked up at him, her heart racing. "Ethan, what are we doing?" He stopped too, his brow furrowing in confusion. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I think we've been dancing around something, and I need to know. Are we just having fun, or is this something more?" Ethan took a deep breath, and for a moment, there was silence. He looked down at her, his gaze soft and steady. "I think it's something more," he said quietly, his voice full of sincerity. "I think this is love." The words hung in the air between them, and for a brief moment Amelia couldn't breathe. Love. She had always been wary of love, always afraid that it would consume her, make her lose control. But with Ethan, she felt grounded. Love with him didn't seem like something to fear. It seemed like something that made life whole. "I love you, Ethan," she whispered, her voice full of emotion. "I love you too, Amelia." From that moment, everything changed. They were no longer two people just passing through each other's lives. They were partners in every sense of the word. They navigated life's ups and downs together, finding joy in the small things and comfort in the hard times. Their love wasn't perfect, but it was real, and that was enough. Years passed, and they continued to build a life filled with love. They traveled, they laughed, they fought, and they forgave. Together, they experienced the fullness of life, the good, the bad, and everything in